Okay, I'm live. I don't know if anybody's here. Let me check over here. Sorry about that. Is anybody here? Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Anybody here? I am here. Is anybody else here? Hello, is anybody here? Hello, hello, hello. I guess no one's here. That's weird. I'm really sorry about that. Looks like I'm the only guy. Let me send this over here somehow. Ay, 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 ay. Let's go over to this thing. Be quiet. Anybody there? Hello? Anybody there? Hello? Well, this is interesting. Looks like I am the only folk here, unfortunately. That stinks. Sorry about that. I have, somehow YouTube has murdered me on this live stream, which I'm not real happy about. I don't quite get it. I don't get it. Wow. That's not awesome. All right, I sent a link. Let's see if someone shows up over here. That's awesome. That's awesome, 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 awesome. Let's see if anybody shows up with that recent message I sent. I'm just sitting here biding my time. That's pretty cool. All right. All right, all right, all right. I'm just waiting for folks to show up because apparently the live stream failed on the other one. And on this one, I'm waiting. So YouTube is basically kind of screwed me on this thing. I had it all set up. I even tested it. I tested it earlier. I tested and tested and retested and retested. And when I went to go live, it basically gave me the big finger. And so now I've started a different live stream over here. And I've set the link on the other live stream that I was trying to do because it wouldn't work for people to come over here. And I am hoping that people end up over here. Desperately hoping they end up over here. So, I don't see anybody showing up. My bad. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. I don't know what's happening. So I am just gonna just trundle along and let this thing happen. Hoping somebody shows up at this link. We'll see. I'm going to try one more thing. Let's see here. Go over here. Go over here. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Oh, haha. I see Brandon here. Mr. Stroop, you're here. Yay. We got things happening. Throwing Light is here. Good. All right, man. Man, I'm really sorry. Holy crapolas. I had it all set up. I made sure everything was cool. I tested it. I retested it. I tested it. I tested it again. And YouTube basically gave me the finger. Cool, man. Thanks for joining me. I love that you pronounced my last name right. Stroop? What do people call you? Stroopé? Anyway, welcome. Thanks for coming over. Ooh, Ken is here. Hey, Ken. Thanks for coming over. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. I tried everything. I'm just going to rip into this. Welcome to the first one. This is the Ask Me Any session. Anything a session after this. We'll go into more specific topics. That's cool. Stroop. Gotcha. Let me just do a little. There were a lot more people here before. Let me just do a bit of a little shout out here. Because people will watch this afterward, but I got to say that Chris Pettit, Jody Brachon, John Caspian, Conrad Martin, Miguel El Capertino, David Clark, Chris Lee, Jeff Webby, Jonathan Holton, Kevin Anson, Caleb Pike, and Curtis Judge. I owe them a big thanks for helping me set all this stuff up, for guiding me on what equipment to buy. These are good dudes. Let's just run over right into the Q&A. We've got some folks here. Let's run this over here. And y'all can hear me good, right? You can hear me? You can see me? Everything's cool? I think there's a lag over here. Y'all can hear me? Let me do this. All hear me okay? Oh, Brandon says yes. Okay, cool. Well, let's just rip into this thing. I want to go over some stuff. Let's just start over here. I said I was going to do Ask Me Anything, and I was taking my life into my hands, and people were really nice. They asked me very subtle questions and left some comments, and I just thought I'd rip through them before we actually get into the live comments that you're going to leave while everybody else catches up and finds out that the other one isn't working. The first one I have is from Bart Johnson Productions. When are we doing a collab? I don't know if you know Bart. Bart is... Sound and video good, Ken. Thank you. Bart has about 10 or 11,000 subscribers, and Bart Johnson, you should subscribe to his channel. He's a cool dude. He does this for a living. He's in production land, and he does this all the time, 7 days a week. He's just a good guy, and you could learn a lot from him. You should check out his channel. And Bart, if you're watching, when are we doing a collab? Well, you tell me what, and you tell me when, and we'll do a collab. I don't care what it is. Name it. We don't have to be together to do a collab. We could do a live stream like this, unless I really mess it up. Thanks, Bart, for the question. And look at there. There's one from Ken Parrish, who is actually with us. I think this is regarding a video. He says, wow, didn't know other people watch their videos multiple times, not only in the editing suite, but also on TV, phone, etc. Thought I was only one, never had any formal training. I just keep editing until I see the monitor. What I see in my mind, it's always a learning experience. Thanks again, and I'm keeping my eye out for the live streams. Well, I hope you didn't poke your eye out waiting for that live stream. I did a video on wearing an editor hat, and I'll just cover that briefly for those of you who haven't seen it. It was a video where I was going over, you know, you have a house, And if you don't have a good foundation, you're kind of screwed. Your house falls down no matter how good your house is. My point was, no matter how good you know all the tools in the editing, there are two basic foundational things that you need to do as an editor. One is that you need to be able to take this hat off of I'm editing and I'm a guy and I'm editing away. You need to pull that off and you need to put on the viewer hat, the audience hat, and just chuck the editor hat and be able to watch the thing from a viewer and go, huh, that's kind of weird. I didn't like that. Take off the viewer hat, put on the editor hat, and talk to that guy and go, what happened? Well, I didn't like it. It was kind of weird. And then you go in and fix it. And you take off that hat, and you put back on the viewer hat, and you do this over and over. Ken's referring to the fact that I watch my videos numbers of times while I'm editing, after I've rendered on my iPad, on my iPhone, on a big screen TV, etc., until I'm comfortable with the video and I go, yeah, that's okay. Now, notice I didn't say, whoa, that's the most epic thing ever, because that's a losing battle too. If you go for that perfection, you're dead, man. Just don't do it. So I go through where I go, cool. I like that. And the other basic that I was talking about is remembering that you're communicating with someone. If you're editing or you're making something, I don't care if it's music, art, singing, whatever, if you can realize and keep in mind that there's someone on the other end that you're communicating to and that you need to be understood and that you're trying to create an effect on them, they're the receiver. Those two things are great. And anyway, that's why I watch it over and over. Thanks, Ken. Let's check out. Oh, is throwing light here? Throwing lights here. Throwing light. Question. Okay. I have a friend who charges, let's say, $50 to $100 an hour for video editing. Should those hours include rendering time, the main renders, not the short ones needed while actually editing, like 1, 2, or 3 hour renders, where you hit the button and go watch your favorite episodes of Babylon 5. What was the defining moment when you decided? Yeah, we'll get to those comments. I'll scroll back through them. This is a really good question. I struggled with this earlier on. When you are charging an hourly rate, $50 to $100 an hour, when you're charging an hourly rate, you should charge for when you're talking to the person on the phone, when they're talking about it over lunch, when you're driving to the client, when you're handling their emails, when you're doing a spreadsheet, when you're quoting them new prices, whatever you're doing, if there's hours involved, you should be charging them. And I mean everything, because then you're unfair to yourself. In this case, if you're hitting render and you're walking away watching Babylon 5, the computer's kind of doing the work. I think it would be okay if you feel okay with that. I personally wouldn't do it. I feel like I was charging someone for mowing their lawn for 5 hours worth of work, and it took me an hour, and I'm out in their back, patio drinking their beer or something. I wouldn't feel right about it. On a client project where you bid things, which is why I don't do hourly rates, I just bid things. If I bid something for, let's say it's a $5,000 bid and I've given myself this much time to do it. If I finish it early, I make money. If I finish it right on time, I make what we agreed on. If I go over that, I lose money. And that way it's on me how much I work. That way, if I have a 12-hour render, I can go off and, watch the entire season of Babylon 5 and not worry about it. I hope that answers your question, that it really didn't give you a definitive answer. I think it lies with you. Do you feel right about charging someone for the time that you're not actually doing the thing? It's tough because you're rendering it, but I get it. I think that's a personal decision. I think you're going to have to keep your own console and make your own decision on that. And if it feels okay to you and it feels right to you, sure, go for it. It doesn't for me. I just wouldn't do it. Probably what I'd do is, if I were charging them $100 an hour, I wouldn't charge them for rendering. I wouldn't. So there's that. Oh, there went some coffee almost. Let's check about Rusting Willpower. I don't think she's here. I started this at 9:30 at night, or I was supposed to start it at 9:30 at night. Excuse me. That's kind of late because it's Pacific Standard Time, and I kind of did that on purpose because this is my first live stream, and I didn't want to have 200 people showing up and questions and comments and happening and blah, 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 because I would have just, my brain would have exploded and it would have been too much for me. So I kind of was sneaky in that I did it at 9:30. The further episodes that I do of these will be probably earlier in the day, probably on a weekend day, probably 3 or 5 to give people in the East Coast time. And then every once in a while, I'll change it up and throw it later into the night and earlier in the morning for people that aren't in this country. Anyway, Rusting Willpower. She's not here right now, I don't think. She's been a subscriber, as Ken has, and a few of you others have, for a very long time. She said, your countdown skipped 5. That countdown on my trial, apparently it went from 5 and skipped. What kind of trickery is this? She's funny. It's not my question. What's your favorite song to play on bass guitar? Wow. I do have a bass guitar over there, and I have an acoustic guitar, and I have a classical guitar, and I have a set of drums over here, and I have a new 6-string thrashing guitar showing up on Monday, and I do play music. My favorite song to play on bass guitar, I can't answer that because there are a lot of songs that are really my favorites. If you want to know what I'm into 70s and 80s rock. I'm into progressive rock. I'm into the old Yes. I'm into the old Genesis. I'm into old progressive jazz like Return to Forever or Jaco Pastorius. Any great bass player. I love playing that stuff. That's kind of what I'm into. My favorite song? I don't know. The one I'm playing at the time that I really like. That's how I can answer that question. Oh, this is another Ken Parrish comment. He was helping me test out my channel, as many as you have. And he says, oh, by the way, if you're ever in North Carolina, let me know and we'll have dinner. You're on, buddy. We just need to figure out who's buying. Either I'm buying or you're buying. I don't know which of us makes more money. But if I'm ever in North Carolina, absolutely. In fact, if I'm ever in North Carolina and we hook up, I'm buying dinner because you've helped me a lot. Dude, nice question. Throwing light. He's talking about the picture quality is good. The audio volume seemed a little low. Thank you for that. Because of that comment, I upped the audio volume to make it in a Gadda Vida. Thanks to you, I upped the volume on this so you can hear it. So apparently you can. Waiting to find out when your new front of the camera course will be available. How do I dodge that? I'm just joking. Here's what I got going on. This year, I am going to completely redo the YouTube course because it's out of date. So much has changed in YouTube over the past 4 years, and that course is really long, and I threw everything and the kitchen sink into it. I even threw into how to edit your video, shoot your video. It's crazy, and I need to pare it down and re-release it with the intent of someone new or at this, or somebody who wants to grow their channel, doesn't get all the blah blah. You can grow your channel in 30 days. Just, it gives you all the information. It allows you to make it. It allows you to do it. It allows you to post. And it just gives you all the information you need so you're not burdened with the tens of thousands of opinions on how to do a YouTube channel. That's going to be redone. The frontal lens course, the on-camera course, is definitely going to be redone this year. Again, that needs to be pared down a little bit. It needs to be quicker. These videos, the money course is another one that I'm redoing this year. These videos were a little more on the conservative side. I was still trying to find my legs with my viewers. And so I wanted to keep them quite conservative and talk to the person like this and say, hey, now today we're going to cover. And that was just bullshit way to go, because that's not me, and I don't like them. They're good courses. They're well worth the money by far for $59 or $49 or whatever. So I'm redoing all 3 of those courses. I'm releasing new free courses. I have someone signed on who's a very good, professional, awesome wedding videographer who's been doing it for years. She's doing a course, and I'm also working on a video editing course. And not just another video editing course, also going to be done this year. It's going to be, I'm going to supply the shot footage of me simply doing a YouTube episode. You got the footage, all the assets and everything else. And I'm just going to let the person learn the video editor and video editing for YouTube by taking those assets for an actual episode that I'm going to shoot. And they're going to be able to do it in Premiere Pro from start to end to post. They're also going to be able to do it in HitFilm. They're also going to be able to do it in Vegas. I also have someone signed on who's going to duplicate that course in Final Cut Pro. I also have someone signed on who's going to duplicate that course in DaVinci Resolve. So once I do the course in Premiere Pro, I have the assets, I have everything shot, I have the whole curriculum done and everything else. It's someone else who's really good at this that can take and duplicate that course in a specific video editor, and I'll be bringing on more videos. Editor types that year. So it's going to be like 6 or 7 courses. So that's what I'm doing this year at the university, and a few other things that I'm not going to tell you about. To answer your question, that was a long-winded answer, wasn't it? The front of the camera course will be available this year. Absolutely, hands down, it will be available this year. I'd like to have it available by September. I've just made promises before that I would have something available, and I broke them, and I don't like doing that. So this year. And as soon as it is, you'll know. And if you bought any of those courses or you buy any of those courses now, you keep the old one and you get the new one for free. That's just the way I do it. I hope I answered that to your satisfaction. Let me, and I will get to these comments. I see them over here. And I'm definitely going to get to those comments in a minute. I'm almost done. Bad Karma 714, I don't think he's here. He and I have this banter back and forth. He went and watched one of my my live streaming, excuse me, and knew it was already played. And he said, "Hey, I can't chat." Robert Shaver. Robert Shaver isn't here. He's been a long-time subscriber, but he does have some questions. It's live, or at least it's live. Question 1, what city do you live in? I live in the state of Oregon, Pacific West Coast, and I live in a town called McMinnville. It's a beautiful little town of about roughly 30,000 people. It was voted the second top something city, small town in the U.S. by Southern Magazine, which I don't even know if that means crap. But it's a beautiful city. They have beautiful city, beautiful people. I live in the wine country. It's in a valley. I have the coast to an hour of me. I have the high desert an hour and a half that way. I have Mount Hood about an hour the other way. And I got Washington about an hour ahead of, north of me, about an hour and a half. And it's about an hour and 10, 20 minutes southwest of Portland. So that's where I live. His second question was, there's a picture somewhere in your videos of you next to a guy in a spacesuit. What's the story? You may see that little avatar on my channel, and I used to have it on my other YouTube channel. And what Robert's talking about is from Halo, Master Chief. You'll see me looking up at Master Chief next to him. There is a story behind that. I don't want to do too long on that because he's got another question, and I do want to get to these comments. There was a release of Halo. I forget which one. It was the third or fourth one, maybe the third one. And if you don't know, it's a computer game, Halo. And for the company, they had some guy, full Master Chief getup. I mean, it was the full deal. The dude was, 6.5, 7 feet tall. Actually, a friend of mine. And I was filming this, doing some filming for them and stuff like that. And just for fun, we went to, in this town, the local GameStop. What they do is at midnight, they open their doors, and about 5, 6, 7 p.m., people line up. Now, this is a town of 30,000 people, and there were lines and lines wrapping around and down around the street and down and out front. I mean, there were just lines and lines of people waiting for GameStop to open so these people could get this game at midnight. So what we did was Master Chief, my friend, and I and a crew of about, I think it was 11 or 12 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It was 12, 13, whatever people. Unbeknownst to this GameStop in this little town, Master Chief and we ended up driving in a Warthog. That's a big game Jeep. And this crew, we descended on this little tiny GameStop in McMinnville. Master Chief got out, and these people went absolutely freaking bizarro crazy. And I got to film that for them. I got to film Master Chief, and I got to film the store manager was speechless and blown away. I got to get some photos with him and stuff. Anyway, that's a story behind this guy in a spacesuit. He also asked, what kind of pro video work do you do? Hollywood, corporate, advertising, etc. Yes. I do corporate work. I do advertising work. More so in the past, not so much anymore. Ads, high end, low end, medium range, lots of money, hardly low budget, high budget, lots of corporate work. Hollywood, I have stayed away and will stay away and will continue to stay away for the rest of my life because I don't like Hollywood. I don't like California. I don't like being sucked into large scale things where you're the director or you're the DP or whatever. It's just, I don't like it. It's too sterile for me. It's not warm enough. It's not tight knit enough. I don't have enough control. I was never one of these guys who, ooh, I get to edit. I get to be an editor on The Matrix. I really don't care. I've never been a guy to just sit in there and do the one little drum set, 3 guitars, new guitar coming. I mean, I like to do all the jobs, or I like to have my hand in them. I like to be around the people and be close-knit with the people. And in Hollywood, nah. I don't like it. It's just, there's too much money. There's too much vested interest. There's too much control. I like the smaller stuff. My current gig, I've kind of dumped most of that because I got tired of traveling. I just got tired of it. I wanted to land, and I landed here in Oregon. My current gig is this company that I'm doing this job for. It's been going on, it's been 6 months or a year now, and will go on for quite some time. They have a company of about 200 people, yet they're one of the top companies in their genre for what they do. And it's all, I can't tell you about the company or what it does, but it's nothing bad. They wanted to start an internal training university and a university to train external people, and they wanted somebody who knows how to do that. So I cut a deal with them. They pay me very well. They treat me very well. And I do work for them right now, mainly. I take on a commercial or something every once in a while, but that's basically what I'm doing, and that's some of my history. And that answers that question. Hey, peace and love to you too, Rob. Almost second to last question. Conrad Newhow. I've been editing for 2 decades, and I always learn watching other people do it. I loved your explanation of switching roles as you edit. I just talked about that. He's talking about that video. Conrad, he's one of the guys that really helped me with this whole live streaming thing and setting it up and getting the right stuff and doing OBS and making sure everything's working. Pretty cool. He's a cool guy. He's really willing to help. I appreciate what he's done for me. And yeah, Conrad, awesome. Last one, Rob McGlynn. I don't know if he's here. Are you here, Rob? I'm looking. Rob McGlynn. He probably got tired of waiting for the damn live stream to start up. I don't really see him here. Rob says, I live in a fairly noisy condo with lots of urban noise, traffic noise. I'm planning to do some educational videos. I realize that unless I change location, I will always have a fair amount of background noise, but I want to minimize it as best as possible. I don't see much improvement using blankets. I've used some post-production background noise reducers with a bit of success. I'm using a Hypercardioid condenser mic. I heard dynamic mics might be better to block out noise. Your thoughts on this issue? Yeah. And I just realized you've been staring at a Word document for the past whatever when I'm talking. I'm sorry about that. That's terrible. I can't imagine you guys stuck with that. Rob, yeah, it's shotgun mics. I'll do this for everybody. Rob probably knows this. Shotgun mics are like taking a flashlight and holding it like this, and that's the pickup pattern. And a dynamic mic is like a light bulb. The light goes everywhere. A shotgun mic goes this way. If you're in a noisy environment and you're using a hypercardioid, basically a shotgun mic, you can go with a dynamic mic to better block out noise. Maybe. The way that would work, like right now, because a dynamic mic, you have to be a lot closer to the mic. I couldn't use this mic mounted 4 or 5, 2, 3, 4 feet above me. You wouldn't be able to hear me that well. Can you hear that? So you can't really hear me that well when I get away. And these mics are usually up close, and they're quite intimate when you're using them. That's why when you see people podcast, they have these mics right there in their face and they're talking in them. A shotgun you can get away with being about this far away. You can be 2 feet, 3 feet, and it'll still pick up because it's basically shooting that way. This is picking up everything. I think the problem you're having with your hypercardioid is, I get that you're using blankets and you have some sound. I would take the blankets down. And I would start by recording yourself using your mic, and I would put a blanket up and find out if it does anything. And if it doesn't, I would put another blanket up and another blanket. What you're trying to do is isolate where the noise is coming from, because I promise you it isn't coming from everywhere. Plus the type of blanket you're using. I mean, you just use a regular blanket. Sometimes they're thin. You need to use these thick moving blankets, and that'll help. Now, the other thing you can do is with the shotgun mic, for instance, if I'm holding a shotgun mic this far away from me, I am going to have to up the level, the gain, or the input level, depending on the recorder you're using, so people can hear my voice. If I were to move back 2 feet from this particular mic, this is a dynamic mic, I would have to up the input gain considerably. And what that's going to do is it's going to pick up everything. There's not a lot of noise going around here, but if there was traffic going by and an air conditioner, it would be overwhelming. Well, it really does work the same with a shotgun mic. You're doing some educational videos, like talking head type. I'd make sure I would pull the frame in closer to myself, and I would make sure the shotgun mic was definitely, usually it's one of these. Usually you hold your finger, and my fingers are small, but I'd say I wouldn't go more than 7, 10 inches, maybe 12 inches away from here, from your mouth. You're going to hold it here just out of frame. Like if I had a shotgun mic right now, right here, the way I'm framed, although I wouldn't frame myself this way, it would sound fine. I think part of the problem you may be running into is a shotgun mic. You're thinking it's a shotgun mic. You're either mounting it over there on your camera, which is terrible because you're going to have to up the input and you're going to get tons of noise, or it's not, it's a hypercardioid, so it's pretty direct. Maybe it's off axis a little bit, pointing over your head or down here. Just try and take the shotgun mic and actually sit down with it, not even out of frame. Sit down with it about this far away and record something and listen. And if you still have noise doing that, because the shotgun mic will try and reject everything from the sides and behind, if you still have noise doing that, the problem is you haven't isolated the source of your sound. Sometimes it's the floor, sometimes it's the ceiling, sometimes it's just a vent in your ceiling where these cars are driving by, and that vent, sometimes the venting, it goes outside, it's connected, and it reverberates through the house. You need to just isolate, forget hanging a bunch of blankets, find out where the sound's coming from and just test with your shotgun mic. If you're doing stuff like this, sure, a dynamic mic is great, but you're going to have to hold it by your mouth. If you're expecting to get a dynamic mic and hold it out of frame, don't do it. Don't spend the money. Don't bother. You're wasting your money. If you're going to do it like this, absolutely get a dynamic mic. If you have any more questions, ask me, and I hope that helps. So let's do that. So that's all the questions I had. Let's go see what people have been doing over here in the comments. Let's check it out. Okay. I'm just going to start at the top. Brandon Stroop, hello. Throwing Light, I'm here. Yay, Brandon Stroop. I love that you pronounced my name. We did that. Good evening. Hi, Ken. Brandon Stroop. Yep. So I pronounced Brandon Stroop correctly. Check. I don't usually pronounce things correctly. Sometimes I even slur my words. Sounds good. Throwing Light, thank you. Thank you, Ken. Sounds good. When or what was the defining moment when you decided to create your channel? Oh, my YouTube channel. There's actually a story behind that. Wow, it's almost 10:22. Let me get back to that. I want to get back to that because there's a story, and there may be other people going, please, I just want to go to bed. Let me see if there's some easier questions. That was a good answer. Okay. I don't remember what the answer was. I agree I would feel bad about charging while I'm watching TV. That answer. Okay, good. It's past my bedtime. Uh-oh. Throwing Light, Inagata to Vida, light my fire. On bass? Not really. On drums? Inagata to Vida. Throwing Light, so you says take the old version before... So he says take the old version before the new one comes out? I don't understand. Oh, editing course sounds fantastic. Got it. Oh, yeah. The old version of the courses? Absolutely. There's nothing stopping you from gaining any data or anything from these old courses. Buy the old courses. They're really cheap. They're like $49 or something. And when the new courses come out, you not only have the old course, but you get the new course too. So absolutely. I mean, they're not all bad. I'm really critical about the courses I do. I want them to be perfect. There's a ton of data in here. I've had quite a few people who are marketers and stuff like that. They're like, man, why don't you promote this? You should be charging like $900 for this course and blah, 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 blah. Okay, whatever, dudes. Absolutely. Yeah, take the course. You're going to learn something off it. You're going to get something out of it. And if you don't, you're going to get the new course for free anyway. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Brandon, do you ever meet up with fans, fellow filmmakers, and help teach skills and tips? I have met up with fellow filmmakers and fans. It's mainly once a year at the NAB show. I meet up with everyone. I've met up and had dinner with a whole group of people, Ryan Conley and Curtis Judd and his brother and Ted from Aperture, a ton of people. There's a ton of people that I've met up with them. I've helped train some of these people there just off on the side. It's really fun to meet these people. Doing dedicated meetup with someone to teach them tips and tricks. Not really. I just don't have the time. I literally work about 100-something hours a week. More than that, actually, because I really love what I do. And so do I ever meet up with fans and fellow filmmakers? Yeah, at NAB, and teach skills and tips. Not too much personally. I may do that if I ever get some time. In fact, I'm going to post a video where a guy contacted me that was having a lot of problem with green screen. He sent me his green screen video. We worked it all out, and I'm going to be posting that and showing the tips and tricks. But hands-on, I just don't have the time. That's going to go back to our other question from Throwing Light. Ken Parrish, amen on the Hollywood comment. Yeah, man. No. I mean, God bless it. People do it and they're able to do it, and I really admire the hell out of them. I don't have the tolerance. Landshark 503, don't forget to click thumbs up. Thumbs up. You meant on this video? Okay. Here. Did it. Brandon Stroop, do you ever consider doing another filmmaker project with us like you did before? Yes. I had to back out of the last one at the last minute. I know you son of a... I'm just kidding. Yes. And let me go back because I heard Throwing Light said it was late, and I know he probably wants to go bed. I want to go back and answer that question real quick. The defining moment when I decided to create your YouTube channel. I'll try and make this a quick story. That was 6 or 7 years ago. And here's what I did. I was doing commercials. I was directing. I was running crews. I was doing all this stuff. And somebody I was talking to, a friend of mine, we were just boy jamming on each other, like, oh, you think you're so hot? Well, you think you're so hot? And he said to me, well, you think you're so hot, you should start a YouTube channel. And I went, okay. Excuse me. How hard can it be? I mean, how hard can it be? I'm behind the camera all the time. I'm directing people, actors. You know, I have people to do lights for me. I have people to set up cams for me. I have people to run. I have people to DP. I have people to script. I have people to, do all the money things and everything else. And I show up and I make these awesome things. How hard can it be to do a little YouTube channel? And so I bought it, and I decided I was going to keep it at the same level of most of the people that were doing it. But I did have a purpose. It wasn't just I'm trying to one-up you, or you bet me I couldn't do it. I noticed that most people talk too much crap about filmmaking. Or you're going to start a YouTube channel, well, you better get a DSLR, and it's got to, and you got to get a good lens. It's got to have an aperture, and the ISO, it should have like a 64,000 app. And I went, I'm going to undercut all that, and I'm just going to go for the basics. I can explain aperture to someone a lot more simply so they understand it. Remember the communication? Communicate to the viewer so they can understand it, so then they can actually understand it, and then they can actually apply it, and then they can actually use it, and then they can actually go study all the blah, blah, and understand that. That's why I started the channel, to bring understanding to people who are trying to do this and to make their lives easier and not go into all the technical details. Like, when you run into the IT guy who's like, well, what you got to do is you got to go on an M64 processor and you got to go in there, and then you just take the deck from the NAB, and then you got the NAS1 and the NAS2, and you asked them, something wrong with your computer. I kind of have a disdain for people like that because they're not really talking to anybody. So I started the channel, and that was the purpose for starting the channel. And I thought, well, how hard can it be? So I stepped from behind the camera, and I started doing YouTube episodes, and they were awful. They were terrible. My first DSLR, I had to call my brother because the conversation was like this. What the beep is the beep going on with the beep? And I have this beep in camera. Where is the beep in aperture ring? And what kind of beep in lens is on here? And what? So I had this tool that I knew nothing about. It was a DSLR, and it was totally different from a real camera. So I stepped from behind the camera, and that was my first taste of, wow, I don't know what I'm doing in front of the camera. Wow, I should have paid more attention to all these lighting guys. Wow, I really should have paid attention to these sound guys. They were just the sound guys. They came in and they set up, and it sounded great, and they were really professional, and they were paid a lot of money. I didn't pay attention. So I had to start learning all this stuff, and that was my cold ice water dip into YouTube. And then I got pissed off and went, I'm going to do this because I don't know about it. When I don't know about something that I'm passionate about, I go after it. So that was the start of my YouTube channel, and then over the years, I upped it, and now we're here. In 5 years, I'll look back, and videos I created now will probably suck to me. That's the answer to your question. And yes, I'm really passionate about my YouTube channel, my university, and training others. Back down to the other comments. I hope I answered your question, throwing light. Back down. Do you ever meet up? We did that. Amen. I did click the thumbs up. Do you ever consider doing another Filmmaker project with us like you did before? I had to back out of the last one. This is from Brandon Stroop. There was a time I was trying to dial in or I was still working out at university and stuff like that, and I had this, I even forget what it was called. It was a Facebook group, and I got about 60 or 100 people together, and we were going to make videos together, and I was going to show them how to do stuff, and I was going to train them, and it was all this stuff, and they would submit videos to me and all that stuff. And it was going very well. And we got to the point where it hit the video editing stage and crickets occurred. It was too long. It took too long. I couldn't devote enough time to it because it was every week I would do something. It was a great group of people. And then it was just too much. I couldn't devote the time. I had a problem. Huh? These people, they hit the editing wall, and then too much time, too much effort, which is when I moved over to the university and went, I need to offer filmmaker training to people that they can assimilate in a couple of hours and apply at their own pace. The group thing didn't work. There were too many people, too many life things. She's having a baby, and he's going over here, and it just took months and months and months, and it just didn't work out. And I wished it would have. It would have been cool, but I can see why now it didn't work out. Will I ever do a... Yeah, you bet, Throwing Light. Thank you for the awesome story. Will I ever consider doing another filmmaker project? I'm kind of sort of going to do that with this editing course. The whole idea, I mean, if you look at where I've evolved to now, the whole idea was I put the university in place, and I'm going to redo all those. You aren't prepared for what I'm working on. Anyway, whatever. I don't want to go there. It's cool stuff. I get the university going on, and I now have anybody at the university who's taken a free or paid course now has the Basic Filmmaker University Facebook page. So what I'm going to do, for instance, like on the editing one, there's going to be a whole editing section. There's going to be a whole YouTube section on the Facebook page in the learning area where they take the course, then they can come over, and then we can interact. And the people who are interested in asking questions, I can interact with YouTube and add additional videos and get their YouTube channel up, or the editing courses, like the 5 or 6 different editing courses. Someone will be able to come over and ask questions. They'll be able to submit their edit after they finish the course. Same with the money course. Did you know I think there's 6 additional money course videos on there that are free, where I go over. So that's kind of the deal. I can offer the training, the theory, what you go through on the filmmaking portion. Then I now have a venue where I can interact with people and we can get together. Will I ever get together and do a multi-project like that? Too many people running in too many different directions. But I do a lot better on one-on-one, maybe 4 people. Maybe we get together and do a commercial or something with 5 people. I might consider that, but to have 50 or 100 people, I don't think I'll be able to do that. I'd love to get in a room and have people's attention for 2 weeks, say 50 or 100 people in a room, in a university room somewhere or something. That would be awesome. I just don't know how to do it with the time I have. So that's my solution. If you have another idea or a better solution, let me know. Thanks, Brandon. Thank you. Okay. Throwing Light, that was awesome. Yes, that's the one I'm talking about. Okay. I can see on my computer that there's a bit of a lag between you asking questions and between what I'm answering. So I'm hoping I don't cut anybody off, but it's 10:35. So despite I was expecting this to go to a half an hour. If you have any questions you probably want to ask now, despite the land shark. Man, dude, you've been around too. Long time, dude. I appreciate it. It's time for us to go to bed. I have a big day tomorrow. And did want to let you know, I've worked out the live stream thing, obviously now. Did want to let you know there's another video probably coming out Saturday or Sunday. It's me helping a guy with some of his editing and screen, and he told me it's okay if I share it with you. And then there'll be another video Tuesday. No, not Saturday or Sunday, Monday. And then there'll be another video Wednesday. I am celebrating my 38th wedding anniversary on June 28th. So this Saturday, I'm taking my wife out to the coast, and we're disconnecting from the world Saturday and Sunday on the coast. Bye-bye. I love this lady more than you could ever possibly imagine. And then I'm going to release another video, this one I was talking about, and then probably one before I leave. And then on Wednesday, I'm leaving Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the following week down to see my children, who are 32 and 34. They're not children anymore. And we're going to hang out and do stuff, and I'm going to see them. I haven't seen them in a while, and see my mom who lives in Orlando. So I'm going to try to fit a video in there. So I'm going to be a little bit AWOL for that time, but when I come back, this is kind of my respite. When I come back, I'm going to hit it hard. That's when I start cranking on these courses and getting things done. I don't see you. Oh, thanks. Oh, wow. Congratulations. Happy anniversary. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Throwing. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Landshark. Thanks a lot, guys. I'm going to cut out here because if I don't cut out, I'm going to keep talking because I love talking to you guys. I wish this was like, and maybe it wouldn't work. I wish this was like we could all, thanks, Ken, all get in a room and we could all, and I could hear you too. That would be awesome. Like if I could hear you and you could hear me and we could actually chuck in back and forth and I could see you and we could have all the screens and switch them. Man, I'd be down with that. I'll take this for now, but that would be bad. Anyway, I need to cut out now. Thank you very much. Thanks for my first almost didn't work live stream. Thanks for attending. Thanks for being up late at night. Thanks for watching my channel. Most of you longtime subscribers, thank you. Thank you for supporting the university. I can't say thank you enough to the people that have taken courses, that are part of the Facebook group, that are subscribers of my YouTube channel and this new YouTube channel. I just can't enough thank these people who have made it possible for me to do something I absolutely love. And people thank me a lot and everything, and I wish I could, I have more thank yous backwards than I could possibly do. I really appreciate it. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to try and do this fancy ending card thing that I think is going to work, and that's going to come up right about now. Thanks for your time. I love you guys, and we'll see you next time. Good night.